1978 was an interesting year for cartoons and kids around the world, especially in America, because that's when Sandy Franks gave us Battle of the Planets, a story about 5 teenagers with superpowers aboard a ship called the Phoenix, assisted by a robot at their base, Center Neptune, and the robot's name was 7 It was an interesting story, and their purpose was to defend not only Earth, but the galaxy from the evil forces of Spectra and their leader Zoltar. While a lot of people out there love this cartoon, even to this day, what so many may not be aware of is how much of a ripoff Battle of the Planets was to another great series called GotchamanThe Science Ninja Team. Perhaps ripoff is not the right words to use. Sandy Franks was able to negotiate distribution rights inside the United States. The problem with it was that the American people did not want, or at least Hollywood and the producers of these programs, deemed it too violent for children back then, and seriously went to the task of reimagining this whole series. Gotchaman, if I'm not mistaken, had at least 108 to 109 episodes, while Battle of the Planets only had about 78 to 79 of them. And when Sandy introduced this to the writers and the storytellers and asked them to reimagine it, they started watching it and didn't understand any of what Gotchaman and the Science Ninja Team was all about because, number one, they didn't speak Japanese, and the other part is they couldn't read the lips. They didn't understand any of the concepts of what the Science Ninja Team was all about, so they went to the task of reinventing it.
I'll be polite and ask you for your names before I slaughter you all.
Sometimes we are 5, sometimes only 1. The mysterious white shadow that steals close to its prey.
Shadow Warriors of Justice, the Science Ninja Team!
Who?
United, we are Gotchaman!
Gotchaman!
Released in 1972, the Japanese cartoon The Science Ninja Team, or the anime Science Ninja Team, was a very violent, different cartoon from Battle of the Planets. The problem here is that when Sandy got a hold of it, he rearranged it, reimagined it to a point that it became a very different cartoon. The violence was gone. The eco-friendly messages that they were trying to present was all gone. Whereas the Science Ninja Team had no problems with killing off their enemies, in Battle of the Planets, they made it abundantly clear that everyone would survive at the end of every episode. 7 and Center Neptune were created as a fill-in for the violence that would take place in the Science Ninja Team. Whenever there was just too much violence, they just cut away to 7 and 1 Rover 1, and sometimes his companion out there on Jupiter, Susan. In Battle for the Planets, G-Force was charged with defending not only Earth, but its galaxy from the evil forces of Zoltar, which is quite interesting how 5 teenagers, regardless of whether they have superpowers, can defend an entire galaxy. The problem with Battle of the Planets is that in taking the source material from Science Ninja Team, they decided to make it look like they were traveling to different worlds, but all they were doing was just taking clips from different parts of Science Ninja Team's adventures on Earth and spinning that into, well, hey, we're going to this planet, we're going to Jupiter, we're going to Vega. Anywhere they went, it was just Earth, but they just decided to turn it around and spin it in such a way that made it look like they were visiting other planets.
Stay tuned. Coming up next on Battle of the Planets, a giant sea monster from the evil planet of Spectra attacks the sister planet of Earth, Arcturus. Can the unmanned remote-controlled defense forces of Arcturus hold up the terrifying and powerful mechanical beast from Spectra?
The Science Ninja Team was always destined to end in tragedy as the leader of Galactor X had a plan to wipe out the entire Earth if they weren't going to surrender to him. And that's exactly how this pretty much ended. The Earth was decimated.
Stop this! Stop the black hole operation immediately!
Happy to. You just surrender, get on your knees, and beg.
Surrender, you say? Who the hell do you think you're talking to?
When it came to Battle of the Planets, Seven Zark 7 and One Rover 1. When I was a boy, I absolutely loved these two characters. But now looking back and learning that they were nothing but filler to compensate for the violent scenes that took place in Gotchaman, it kind of takes away from it. And there were definitely some inconsistencies with the storytelling on Battle of the Planets.
Mark activated the subatomic generator perfectly to transmute them into the fiery phoenix. And they can recover the Vitalumas from the ocean where it fell. In 24 hours, they'll resume their normal shapes and be ready for their next assignment.
One of the inconsistencies when it comes to Battle for the Planets is the fiery phoenix. At the end of the first episode, we got 7 Zark 7 narrating that the fiery phoenix will take about 24 hours to transmute back into the Phoenix, which means the people on the ship, the G-Force, has been transmuted as well, and it's going to take them 24 hours to revert back to their normal forms. Again, 7 Zark 7 said that once they mutated into the fiery Phoenix, it would be a 24-hour mutation. Only after that would they revert back to normal. But in this particular episode right here, we see that that just ain't so. Once Zoltar's little monster ship here starts ripping apart the Phoenix with flame of their own, it instantly will revert right back to the Phoenix. It wasn't a mutation. It was just an extensive heat shield that was put over the ship. Now, on the positive side of things, when it comes to Battle of the Planets, I absolutely love their version of Bert Kotze. Bert Kotze from the Science Ninja Team, he was kind of goofy. He was menacing, yes. But honestly, Battle of the Planets, Zoltar, their version of him, Zoltar, I absolutely love him. He was calculating, he was brilliant, and he was not afraid to go after G-Force. Unfortunately, when things didn't go his way, he'd run for cover real quick. Bert Kotze, on the other hand, was a whimpering coward whenever the situation did not go well for him and he wound up in the hands of Gotchaman. He was always crying for Leader X to save him. In one episode of Battle for the Planets, Alien Bigfoot, the G-Force finally gets a hold of Zoltar and unmasks him. And it is a brief glimpse of what Zoltar looks like without the mask. And when he is finally revealed, we get a brief image of what possibly is a woman. And then a great spirit appears, threatens G-Force, knocks him unconscious, and that's the last we'll ever hear of it.
Was it a dream? Or did I really see Zoltar with long blonde hair?
Zoltar, a woman? All of you need a long vacation, or they're gonna start looking into your heads.
In Gotchaman, the story is much deeper than that. Bert Kotze, once the mask is blown off, is revealed. It turns out that while in the womb, Bert Kotze, along with a twin sister, were fused together to form one body. 2 minds, 1 body. And they had the ability to change shape whenever they wanted, from male to female. And when this story came over to America, it was just too much in the 70s for them to handle, and they decided to axe this part of the storyline. And it is an interesting concept. He was called a mutant, and I still think to this day it wasn't a bad storyline to have, but I guess back in the 70s it just wasn't acceptable. The final criticism that I have for Battle of the Planets is to the character Kiop. This is a character that absolutely was decimated by Sandy Franks and his writers. The original name of the character was Chimpe, and he spoke perfectly fine. He had no problem speaking at all. And when they brought the character over to the United States, they decided to rewrite him. I think he was created in some laboratory somewhere, and they decided to add all these growls and clicking noises to him, which, in my opinion, made him one of the worst characters in the story. As a kid, Battle of the Planets was just such an amazing and special cartoon for me. It allowed my imagination to grow and go places that I never thought were possible at the time. But after watching Gotchaman, the complete series on Blu-ray, I am really disappointed in what we got. I honestly feel like we were ripped off. I understand that back in the day it was just too violent a cartoon, but I still think they probably could have tweaked it a little bit more in giving us something a little more superior than what we were given. Anyway, I would love to hear your thoughts and comments, so please drop those comments below and let me know. Until the next time, my friends, God bless.